Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Hare Arena for tonight's Continental Indoor Football League action here at Hare Arena between the home Dayton Sharks and the Marion Blue Racers. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's round 2 of the Buckeye Bowl. Good evening, one. Good evening, all. My name's Lee W. Mowen.
Hola. Oh, I thought you were introducing me.
Oh, no. Michael Hearn is to my left. Very special guest here on the Gem City Sports Network and simulcasted on Michigan Regional Sports Network, MSRN, Channel 7. Mike, how are you doing tonight?
Great. I love those guys. Big fan of the MSRN.
And they simulcast most of the CIFL games, and they partnered up with us this season. Great people and great listenership as well. We're about ready for tonight's contest, Marion versus Dayton. Dayton is coming in on a 4-2 record, 2-0 here at Hare Arena, whereas Marion are playing just their second road game away from Marion, Ohio, where they're 0-1 thus far away from Central Ohio. Now, Mike, something interesting about you. You know a lot of these Blue Racers with your work with the Lima Warriors, a semi-pro team that plays about spring towards the summer.
Actually, yeah, in another couple of weeks. I used to be the play-by-play guy there, but, when those teams get started, it's great because they've already got the conditioning for, arena. Marion's got no less than 8 guys who are predominant members of the Columbus Fire, the then former HFL champs, and now in the PAFL. They'll start here in a couple weeks. I actually see them with my new team in the Northeast Ohio Predators, so it's interesting getting to see guys that I'm a big fan of, like Dante Barnes, one of the corners for Marion, played at Eastern Michigan University. The guy is just fantastic, both as a person and as a player. We're watching the pregame festivities here, and you ever seen a dog chase a shark? I have. But also Chris Stafford, number 77 for Marion, one of the linemen, a Lima Warrior on the opposite side. Guys who, in about a month, are going to suit up and be on opposite sides. Teammates here tonight, and even Dayton with University of Findlay product James Cravens. So I love seeing these guys and seeing, knowing that they're going to put on a show for the fans.
This is definitely going to be a special show for everyone. Battle of the 2 Ohio teams in the CIFL. I can recall a time when it was the Cincinnati Commandos versus Marion Blue Racers. That was the big rivalry in the UIFL. So this should be an outstanding matchup. Dayton lost at Marion earlier in the year. Brian Reese had the play-by-play call as the Sharks dropped a 50-41 decision in the hands of the home Blue Racers. So the Sharks looking for some payback here on home turf, or in the Shark Tank, as the fans love to call it. It's not going to be an easy task. Marion coming in 5-1. They took down Erie at home, and their only loss was to Erie on the road. Very tough Blue Racers squad. And also for the Sharks, one noticeable difference. There is no Tommy Jones on this roster. The
2 big differences, really. Him and Robert Red both.
And now that gives the starting quarterback job in the hands of Evan Sawyer, who attempted 2 passes before tonight's contest. He's really going to be relied on a lot tonight. And the Blue Racers defense, nothing to sneeze about tonight.
And also, more than likely, their starting quarterback tonight, Mike Tatum. 6 of 9 last week for 155 yards and 5 touchdowns. Also ran for one. Speedy wide receiver, a huge playmaker that the Dayton defense is going to have to keep on their heels tonight to watch.
We had an interview with Coach LeVar Glover of the Dayton Sharks done by Doug Brown, one of the co-owners of the Gem City Sports Network. We'll play that, and we'll come back with our pregame show here on the Gem City Sports Network and also simulcast on the Michigan Regional Sports Network. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back after this.
Joining us now is the head coach of the Dayton Sharks, LeVar Glover. And LeVar, you played these guys before. They beat you. What do you know about this Marion team?
Marion's a solid ball club. Last time we played them, they were the better team than we were.
So what do you got? I know you don't have Tommy Jones anymore. You got Evan as the quarterback, and he's a proven quarterback in this league. What do you got for the guys tonight? What do you got for Marion?
Well, we're looking to come out and play Dayton Shark football. Evan's a proven leader. We're going to rally behind him, offensively, defensively, and we expect to have a big plays on special teams as well. And so we're just going to rally as a team and do what we do best, and that's play hard.
You had a tough loss against Chicago. You had a week off to prepare for Marion. Now you're going to have another week off to prepare for Lexington. What do you do to keep these guys in football shape?
Well, the last bye week we went to LA Fitness and played basketball. And we just had a fun team building, team camaraderie event, and that's what I'm looking forward to do this upcoming week as well. We're still building our team and just getting close as a team.
Yeah, the fans come out here and they have a real good time watching it. And what can you tell the fans that haven't seen an indoor football game before? What can you tell them about the Dayton Sharks and have them come out here?
Well, arena football, indoor football, it's an exciting, it's hard-hitting. You're going to be close to the action. You can expect a high-scoring game. It's just a fun atmosphere, and we're glad to be representing the city of Dayton. We're going to play our hardest. We're going to give maximum effort, and we're looking forward to a win tonight.
Now, you played with the Bengals and the Steelers, and there's a big difference when it comes to here, but position-wise, defensive back, you played defensive back. There's no difference except from the field size of playing the D-back here in this league, though, right?
What I tell defensive backs is either you're playing in man or you're playing in zone. And so I expect for you to make a play. But it's that simple. You're either playing man or zone, and as a defensive back, you learn the basic defensive back skills early on, and so I look forward for them guys to do what they do best, and that's cover.
Well, we look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks against Lexington, and a couple of weeks after that with Northern Kentucky, and they're going to be a tough team to reckon with too, Northern Kentucky.
Yeah, as the season move on, each game gets, it means a little bit more, and so.
As we honor America with the performance of our national anthem, tonight singing is the lead singer of upcoming Dayton band Vanguard, Brian Schultz. Oh, see, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes in bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched, we're so gallantly streaming. And the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in, and gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, see, does that star-spangled banner yet waves o'er the land of the free and the home of the
National anthem sung by lead singer of the Dayton band Vanguard, Brian Schultz. The colors presented to us by the Miami Valley CTC and the MVCTC and the Shriners. We are sorry that we missed a little bit of the national anthem, but one thing I always love about it, it always reminds us we have the freedoms to press, freedoms to speech, and freedom to broadcast sports. I know you agree with me on that one, Mike. The Marion Blue Racers take on the Dayton Sharks tonight here at Hara Arena. We want to welcome you on the Gem City Sports Network, Radio 1, and on the Michigan Regional Sports Network, Channel 7. That's where it's simulcasted tonight. Welcome all as we're about ready for Sharks and Blue Racers football. Let's quickly thank our sponsors here on the Gem City Sports Network. We're sponsored by Jamie Day at Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, JJHuddle.com, Ohio's original high school sports website and favorite online community. And our broadcasting partners include Sinclair Community College, Miami University Middletown, the Dayton Demons, who are playing for a championship tonight, game number 1 of a best-of-5 in Danbury, Connecticut. And, of course, the Dayton Sharks of the Continental Indoor Football League. Sharks in their black jerseys tonight, shiny black helmets with a Dave & Buster's logo on their right-hand side. That is a first in the CIFLs, I've read on Facebook.
Love that place.
And the Marion Blue Racers, white jerseys for them tonight with blue top, red bottom numbers. Kind of a gradient effect for the Racers. And Marion in cursive on the front. And white helmets for the Blue Racers with MBR on the sides. Big contest on hand. 2 Ohio CIFL teams battling here in Southwest Ohio. Mike Hearns joined me tonight for the broadcast here.
Nice little, during that interview, they talked about how Coach has the history with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then, of course, Lamonte Coleman, the owner of the Marion Blue Racers, also with the connection to Pittsburgh. Out of Slippery Rock University, played a couple of years for the Steelers and played running back in the Super Bowl. So a nice little segue between the two. Also the owner of the Pittsburgh Power.
Right now, there's a coin flip on the center field. The 4 Blue Racers captains with 5 Sharks captains. They're over the flipped coin. And the referee closest to the action waves his hands down as the time's about to tick off the Hare Arena scoreboard. Sharks versus Blue Racers round number 2 as the captains shake hands, and we are about ready for tonight's CIFL match, the 3rd match here at Hare Arena for the Dayton Sharks. Nice crowd on hand. Maybe about 1,005 here, would you say?
Yeah, it's a pretty good crowd, especially considering the fact it's 50 degrees outside, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the Dayton area tonight.
The referee standing in the center. The center with no logo on the new turf for the Sharks. As Phil Collins in the air tonight, blast over the Hare Arena speakers.
I just watched The Hangover, and this is all I could think of now.
What are some of the keys tonight for the Blue Racers and the Sharks, Mike?
Well, for the Blue Racers, it's pretty simple. Commit less penalties. 80 yards in penalties the last time around that they played against the Sharks. And this is a Marion team that has got themselves a heck of a battle because you've got essentially what could be a CIFL South championship elimination game as far as the number 1 seed goes tonight if they're able to beat the Sharks. But they travel to Saginaw next week to take on the top team in the North. So not an easy couple of weeks. They've got to get their big 2 guys offensively, and Mike Tatum. You pretty much name a category, he's leading the team in it. And Bryson Lawrence, 220 yards rushing, 202 yards receiving, 11 touchdowns. Those are the 2 big guys for Marion. Dayton's got to try and maybe keep them in check, but going the other way, it's a Sharks defense that got shredded against Chicago. Juice Williams from the University of Illinois threw for 4 touchdowns against his secondary a couple of weeks ago. And it's not going to get any easier for them either. They've got some pretty good teams coming up, but 1 for 5 in the red zone the last time out against Chicago.
That being said, Marion will kick off, and Dayton will receive the ball to start our first half action here. And kicking the ball away for the Blue Racers will be Josh Berkshire, the kicker of the Racers. The referee closest to him has the ball hurled up underneath his right armpit and his right hand. He's about ready to put it in the tee as the Blue Racers and the Sharks in their bench. And one of the referees talking with the chain gangs. It's going to be neon yellow chains with neon yellow numbers on the down flippers. We're about ready for the kickoff here. Berkshire waits patiently, stands right behind the tee. The Sharks will be heading from right to left in our first quarter, and the Blue Racers left to right. You're listening to the Gem City Sports Network, and you're listening to the simulcast on the Michigan Regional Sports Network Channel 7. Still waiting for the ball to be dropped. The Sharks' return man is going to be number 7, and Demetrius McCrae, listed as a defensive back for the Sharks. At 6'0", 210 pounds. He waits in the end zone as he has 3 stripes behind him. He's the lone return man all the way back in his own end zone. 15 minutes have been put on the Hare Arena scoreboard, but we have yet to see the ball drop into the tee. The referee will spin the blue and white ball, a different color to last year's light sandy brown. It is pretty different in indoor football.
I think the holdup is I see the officials talking to the Dayton kick returners as well as the staff back behind. I just don't think they're ready to go yet. The one official down here hasn't signaled which way they're going to go or when they're going to get ready. They might be getting set right now.
That's the area where the Zamboni enters for hockey. It's unshielded underneath the goalposts. As we're waiting on referee number 75, he hands the ball over to the kicker, Josh Berkshire. He places it up in the tee. He's got more Blue Racers on his left-hand side as Marion heads from left to right to start our first quarter. They're kicking away, and the Sharks will return the ball. Berkshire kicks it to the right of the scoreboard, and Demetrius McCrae watches it bounce off the glass. It will be a touchback, and Dayton will have the ball. No return. 1st and 10 coming up for the Sharks.
It's probably a good thing for Dayton, too, because McCrae never really got a beat on where that was going to come off. I don't know if maybe he lost it in the lights. So Dayton dodged a little bit of a bullet there on their first kickoff of the game.
It'll be 1st and 10 from the Sharks' 20-yard line. The referees confirm that it bounced off the top portion of the hockey glass and on the bottom portion of the protective net where the pucks will fall. The ball placed 5 yards away from midfield. 1st and 10, Dayton. The Sharks heading from right to left. Evan Sawyer making his first start with the Sharks.
Watch out for the pressure up the middle from Cross, too.
It is Sawyer. He sends Shearer, his wide receiver, in motion on the near-hand side to stationary far-hand side. Through the middle, and then Marcus Fales makes the catch, and he's dragged down right around the 23-yard line by a Blue Racer. He'll pick up 3 on that pass. It'll be 2nd down and 7 for the Sharks with 15 seconds and rolling gone from the first quarter.
It's a good idea, too, because like I was talking about, Mike Cross is going to be pursuing him up the middle. He's a very big individual, about 300 pounds, about 6'5". And it's interesting, too, because at least 3 of the 4 defensive backs for Marion have played together with the Fire, and Dante Barnes being set off on the opposite side from us, they're going to have to get a lot underneath.
Sawyer sends the man in motion, near-hand side, 2 wide receivers left, 1 on the far-hand side. Sawyer with the ball, looks towards his left, swings it, and it's out of the reach of a diving Sharks wide receiver. That's going to be number 19, Craig Wallace Jr. Incomplete. 3rd down and about 6 for Dayton from their 24-yard line.
They did a good job on that one because Woodfork took the inside guy and went back with him. Underwood had to come across the field, and he just sort of slipped in behind, but wasn't able to make the catch up against the glass.
3rd down and 6, Sharks from their 24-yard line. They need to get to the Marion 20 for a fresh set of downs. Sawyer sends 2 wide receivers towards his right on the far-hand side. His running back, Marcus Fales, is on his left, and Derek Shearer, left-hand side, he's the man in motion. Sawyer looks towards his left, off the hand of Derek Shearer, bounces off the top portion of the glass and lands harmlessly on the Marion 14-yard line. That's an incomplete pass. It's 4th down and 6 for Dayton on their 24-yard line.
Kind of interesting, the play call on that one, because they overloaded the opposite side with the 2 receivers in front of Witherspoon and Barnes, but went to the near side and threw into double coverage.
And on the field now is kicker Zach Van Zant. He's back with the Sharks. The previous kicker, Ryan Mahaffey, he's still on the team, but Van Zant lines up for a field goal here from the Sharks' 24-yard line. He camps right around the 14 and towards the left of his holder, Evan Sawyer. Sawyer waits the ball. He places it. Here's the kick from Van Zant. It flings high and wide left, well wide left on the near-hand side. The field goal is no good, and the Blue Racers have the ball for the first time tonight with 12:38 and rolling left to go in our first quarter. No score between the Dayton Sharks and the Marion Blue Racers.
And here's where it gets interesting for Marion because they're so skilled offensively. You can do so much when you've got a guy who's speedy like Mike Tatum. Is their leading rusher and receiver and also now the leading passer on this team. There's not a lot this guy can't do. And I'm telling you flat out, if you get behind him and don't have an angle, he's going to blow by you every time.
It's 1st and 10 for the Blue Racers on their own 5-yard line as Marion huddles up in their own end zone. Last time these two teams meet, it was in Central Ohio, and the Racers came out to a 50-41 win. Taking the shotgun is going to be number 9 for the Blue Racers. We'll get a name on him as Tatum lines up as the man in motion near hand side. Fling and down the middle, Tatum wide open and off the hands of his defender, incomplete. That defender was Dante Johnson for the Sharks, number 21. Almost came away with a good interception, cutting off Mike Tatum, incomplete. 2nd and 10 for Marion on their own 5.
A pump fake, and that's a touchdown.
The ball placed right back at the 5-yard line. So 2nd down and 10 coming up for the Blue Racers. The quarterback is number 9, not listed on our rosters here, but we'll get a name. They do have Steph Stevens listed as a quarterback as number 5, and Chris Wallace is number 7. Ball with the quarterback now as he springs towards his left, springs
That's a bullet.
Bam! A pass near hand side, touchdown, Marion. Bryson Lawrence reeling in that score. All alone near hand side, right back at the Sharks' 15-yard line, and he punches it home for 6. Beautiful pass, and Lawrence does the rest.
And the interesting thing is that play should look really familiar to anybody who saw the first one. It was the exact same route that Tatum ran the first time. The only difference is everybody was looking inside, and he just blew by. That's the other great thing about Mike Tatum. He's a heck of a decoy.
So now up to kick. It's going to be number 34, Josh Berkshire. His holder is going to be Gerald Bird, listed as a wide receiver. Here's the hold. Bird places it, kick, and it's right through the uprights. Berkshire hits the extra point, and Marion leads 7-0 with 10:02 left to go in our first quarter. So Marion leads 7-0 here. About 5 minutes done of the first quarter. And you can't ask for a beautiful pass like that.
You also can't give it up if you're a defense. I guarantee that they'll be looking for that the next time. That's Bryson Lawrence. He has 12 touchdowns now on the year, 6 rushing, 6 receiving. So a heck of a way to get that one as they're trying to get the officials' microphone set up here inside the stadium. Having a little bit of problems.
Jangane makes his way around the penalty box of the hockey setup as Marion has tacked on to a 7-0 lead. Sharks will get the ball back after this kickoff. It's Berkshire again. As he looks towards the ball. It's towards his right on the end zone line. He's about ready to kick it back towards Demetrius McCray of the Sharks. The only return man back in his own end zone for Dayton. It is 7-0 Blue Racers. Berkshire holds up his left hand, boots it low, and it's caught right at midfield by number 1 of the Sharks and Jason Smith. He'll pump it up for a couple yards, drop right around the Blue Racers' 18-yard line. It's 1st and 10, Dayton in Blue Racer territory.
Remember, Dayton 1 of 3 passing on their last drive, only 3 yards. But I'm glad to see, we were talking about during the pregame about how many of these Blue Racers play outdoors. They play outdoors together for the Columbus Fire, and I noticed, too, I could hear it with my headset off. They're a very vocal group, just as they are outdoors here inside the Coliseum. But Don't be surprised if they don't keep that up.
Evan Sawyer will send Shearer towards his right-hand side. The man in motion will be on the near-hand side. That's going to be Eugene Cooper, and there's going to be another wide receiver towards his left. Cooper sprints past the 20-yard line. Sawyer with the ball, looks towards his right. His pass swatted away by Marion's number 55, Joshua Montgomery, incomplete. 2nd and 10, Dayton from the Marion 18-yard line.
They're just trying to beat that. They're almost setting up like a delayed screen on the backside, but Montgomery read that perfectly and volleyball spiked that back into the turf.
2nd and 10, Sharks from the Marion 18-yard line. For a fresh set of downs, they need to get to the Blue Racers 8. Sawyer will send 3 wide receivers on the far-hand side, and they'll be in a line right behind each other. It'll be Derek Shearer, the wide receiver, the farthest away. Bad snap, and it's thrown over the head of a lineman. Loose ball, but it's going to be picked up by the Sharks, and I believe the ref says incomplete. And yes, it is an incomplete pass by Sawyer, and that gives the Sharks a 3rd and 10 from the Blue Racers 18.
Well, and you see immediately everybody scramble for the ball because if the line of scrimmage is the 18, he threw that at the 20. So really it's almost like a lateral because he didn't throw it forward. Yeah, the trip set doesn't work when Barnes was able to jam the front side receiver, and the back two, obviously, everything's negated and throws off the timing when there's a fumble.
Sawyer will send 3 wide receivers on his left-hand side now, and the man towards his right is Demetrius McCray. In motion is going to be Craig Rawless Jr. as Sawyer, he fumbles the ball right at the Marion 22-yard line. It is picked up by the Sharks in number 51, also not on our rosters. That will be a loss of a couple yards, 4th down and about 14 from the Blue Racers 23-yard line, make it the 22-yard line.
See, it's a confidence thing now for Dayton because you missed the field goal the first time around, and you missed it rather well to the left as they're going to send out a couple of players. But on the last pass, they were trying to set up McCray. He was open on the backside for a screen, and I don't understand because that's what they had been working towards, but they looked downfield.
Van Zant is back on the field for make it a field goal, I should say. The ball camped right around the Marion 22-yard line. Van Zant lines up, and his holder will be Evan Sawyer. Here's the place, the snap, the kick, blocked! And the ball bouncing towards the Dayton end zone. Evan Sawyer, he can't get a good handle on it, but neither can 2 Blue Racers. We have it right at the Sharks' 2-yard line, and it's going Blue Racers' way. 2 yards for 6 more points. Not a great start by the Sharks tonight. Blocked is Van Zant's field goal attempt. He is 0 for 2 on the night, and the Blue Racers have it at the Dayton 2-yard line. 1st and goal, Marion, with 6:20 and rolling left to go in our first quarter, and 7-0 Blue Racers the score.
Historically, this is where you would see the Blue Racers just go I and give it to Chris Brooks, who's got 5 touchdowns this year, but Brooks isn't here tonight. So it'd be interesting to see if maybe they just go quick slant on the outside as you see where the DBs are set up to Tatum.
Tatum is on the far-hand side along with Steph Stevens. Hand off, and here comes Lawrence. He's looking for a 2nd touchdown, and he bounces off the turf with his head. And that is a touchdown for Lawrence on the rushing variety. And Marion leads 13-0 with 5:43 and rolling left to go in our first quarter here at Hara Arena. Lawrence with his 2nd touchdown on the night. Picked it up right around the Sharks' 6-yard line. So a 6-yard rush for Lawrence. He has 2 scores tonight. And back on the field is going to be Berkshire looking to make it 2 for 2 on extra points.
Yeah, pretty easy to do. Overload the right side and just go run back like a misdirection back the other way.
Snap to Bird, the holder. Placed, and Berkshire pops it up in the air, and
that's a knuckleball.
That's lacing through the uprights. Berkshire 2 for 2 tonight, and Marion leads 14-0 over the home Dayton Sharks with 5:03 left to go in the first and the media timeout right here at Hara. Blue Racers off to a great start. 2 offensive possessions for them and 14 points.
I think maybe it'll be interesting to see the next time around that there's a kicking situation, what Dayton will do, because you've already shown that if you're Marion, obviously you can score from the 1, but you're able to score from your 5 on the previous drive. It would almost behoove you just to go for it the next time.
If you're looking to sell or purchase a house within the Miami Valley, Jamie Day at Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate can be your man. You can contact Jamie at 937-602-2761 or log on to jamieday.com. He also has offices in Beaver Creek, Brookville, Centerville, and Inglewood. That's Jamie Day at Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate at jamieday.com. Marion about to kick off for the third time tonight. It is Berkshire. As we're about ready for the media timeout to be over, it is Antioch Shriners night. We have Snoopy with Sharky battling for, looks like Woodstock, the bird that hangs out with Snoopy. And Snoopy just keeps putting it over Sharky's head. And the Demons mascot, Bones, he's making his rounds around Section 28. A lot of fans on their smartphones tonight, too. They're catching a good CIFL matchup between the two Ohio teams in the league, the Marion Blue Racers, who are on top of the Dayton Sharks, 14-0, 5:03 left to go in the first quarter.
Also, in 2 of the last 3 Blue Racers games, they scored less than 30 points. So what did the other defenses see thus far that Dayton hasn't?
McCray with the return. He's past the 15. He makes his way past a couple Blue Racers and tangled down by Marion right around the 13-yard line of Marion. It will be 1st and 10, Dayton, near the red zone of the Racers. McCray with the first return for the Sharks tonight. Catches it in the end zone, right to him, and he makes his sprint towards the left-hand side. Gets past about 4 Blue Racers defenders, and he's dropped right around the Marion 13-yard line. 1st and 10, Dayton in Blue Racer territory. Evan Sawyer back under center. Tonight, Tommy Jones, he is no longer a Shark. Rumors, as I heard, he is now a river monster for Northern Kentucky. Sawyer looks towards his right. He'll set up 2 wide receivers. The man in motion be on his right-hand side, and Shearer will stay stationary left-hand side. Sawyer gets the ball, takes it. He pushes off a Shark, and he'll be dropped right back around the 13-yard line of Marion. He'll lose about a yard. Actually, they'll give him the progression. It will be right back to the original line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10 for the Sharks, now past the 12-yard line of Marion.
He didn't really use Corey Chappelle there real well. Just sort of knocked him out of the way to try and get back to the line of scrimmage. I think he didn't understand the blocking concept on that one.
Sawyer will set up a play now. He will send Shearer on the far-hand side along with 2 other wide receivers. And the man in motion is going to be number 1, Jason Smith. Smith in motion, past the 10 now. Sawyer's got the ball, looks towards his right, throws it off the hands, popped up off of Eugene Cooper's hands, incomplete. And Marion says they have an interception, but the referees point towards the glass, and it is incomplete since that would have been out of bounds had there not been hockey glass there. 3rd and 10 now for Dayton on the Marion 12-yard line.
It was a perfectly set up pick play, too, because the motion man had everybody looking in the back of the end zone. But again, just like we've seen 3 or 4 throws, just too high for Dayton.
14-0 Marion, under 3 to play as we have a sponsorship banner down on the turf. One of the volunteers of the Sharks picks it up quickly as Sawyer sets up camp now. He'll send a man in motion on the far-hand side. Now he'll reverse towards the near-hand side. Shearer will be the stationary near-hand side. We have whistles. Looks like Dayton and Coach LeVar Glover has just called a timeout with 2:41 left to go in the first quarter. Coach Glover looking to settle the troops as they trail Marion 14-0.
Think about this. The last 2 times these teams have played, they split the meetings. Last season in Marion, a 64-16 win for Dayton. But right now you see, obviously, it seems like Marion is in their head right now, at least offensively.
Marion's looking to go to 6-1 on the season, giving Dayton their first home loss in the season and drop them to 1 game over 500, the same record that the Northern Kentucky River Monsters currently have at 4-3. Dayton comes in 4-2, Marion 5-1. Their only loss was on the road at Erie but the Blue Racers are off to a great start as they lead Dayton 14-0 in the first quarter with 2:41 left.
And each one of these teams with a weird little quirk in the CIFL schedules. The Dayton will have 3 weeks off before they play their next game. Marion will have 2 weeks before they go to Saginaw.
2 wide receivers near hand side, man in motion on the near hand side. Shearer stays stationary far hand side. Shearer looks down the mirror. No, make that Sawyer. Sawyer bounce it off the turf, and we have whistles. And taking the ball back was Will House of the Blue Racers. The referees blew their whistles down, I believe.
He called it incomplete. And that's a judgment call from where he's at, because I thought that too, but I thought that he got him on the back of the elbow, so I thought you could have made a case for a fumble.
I was originally thinking it was a fumble by Dayton, but the referees say incomplete. It doesn't matter what we say, it matters what the stripes say.
And here's what I was talking about on the last drive too, about the 4th down. You know, obviously field goals are not working out for them right now, so you might as well. You're going to give Marion about the same distance as where they would start anyways.
4th and 10 for Dayton on the Marion 12. Sawyer will set up a wide receiver on the near hand side. Sawyer gets the ball. We have a yellow flag flying back in the Marion end zone. And the referee on midfield says it's on the Sharks.
Got him for a delay of game. A little interesting thing in the giant chess match of offense versus defense. Marion is not able to get their pressure from anywhere but straight up the middle. So what Dayton's having to do is keep Marcus Fales most of the time back there as an extra blocker.
Sawyer sends 2 wide receivers far hand side, 1 on the left. Sawyer with the ball now back at midfield. Throws it towards the right, over everyone's head, and over a defender and Dante Barnes. Incomplete, turnover on downs, and Marion will get in their own territory. 1st and 10 with 1:12 in rolling left to go in the first quarter. 14-0 Blue Racers.
Even Dante Barnes shook his head like he didn't know where that one was going.
Evan Sawyer with his first start with Dayton. Tommy Jones has no longer with the Sharks. And Marion will get the ball back as we have reached the under 1 minute mark in the first quarter. And that doesn't mean anything in the first and third quarters. In the second and fourth, the clock will stop. Marion's back on the offense. It is 1st and 10. 2 wide receivers on the near hand side. That's the right as the quarterback sprints towards his 10.
He'll look Tatum.
And he'll bounce around. Dropped right around the Blue Racers 16-yard line. He'll get back to the original line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10 for the Blue Racers as we hear a loud screech over the speakers. It's the Blue Racers will be back at their 17-yard line. That's 3. That'll be a pickup of 1, so 2nd down and 9. It looks like the Blue Racers will let the clock run out in this first quarter.
The announcer's saying that Chris Wallace is the quarterback, where number 9. He must have gained some weight since I saw him last season.
And that's the end of our first quarter. The Marion Blue Racers lead the Dayton Sharks 14-0. Another red dot put on that Hare Arena scoreboard. We're about ready for our second quarter of the first half here at Hare Arena. 2 offensive possessions, 14 points for the Blue Racers, 3 offensive possessions for the Sharks, 0 points.
Not only just 0 points, 3 total yards.
It is true, the Sharks have had trouble moving the ball. They have attempted 2 field goals tonight.
Actually, 0 yards, because the very first possession, remember they had that 3-yard little screen pass they tried early, but on their second possession, the fumble before the blocked field goal cost them 3 yards. So officially 3 possessions and exactly nothing to show for it.
Tough night for the Sharks in their first quarter. The Blue Racers get the ball to start our second quarter right around their own 17-yard line. We have switched directions as the Blue Racers now head from right to left on your screens, and the Dayton Sharks head from left to right. 14-0 Blue Racers. We are in the second quarter. It's the Blue Racers in their white jerseys, Dayton's in their blacks. Right now the quarterback being listed as Chris Wallace. On our rosters, he's listed as number 7, but that's Dante Barnes' number, as we found out during pregame.
Teammates with the Columbus Fire, as it keeps coming back to that. Pretty much the entire Marion Blue Racers team is, and if you haven't seen them as a team, they play at Grandview High School in Columbus, and they're something to watch.
And wide receiver on both sides, man in motion is going to be Mike Tatum on the far hand side. The quarterback looks over towards his man in motion right around the Marion 7. Tatum sprints past the line. The quarterback's got it. Wallace looks around, zings it towards his right, and Tatum with a nice catch at the Dayton 20. He goes backwards a bit, now being pursued by a party of Sharks, and he's dropped right around the Sharks' 22-yard line. 1st and 10, Marion. They get the first down as the Blue Racers lead 14-0, 20 seconds gone from our second quarter, and the clock continues to roll.
That's an interesting spot that they gave him, too, because Tatum caught that right on the numbers at the 20, but he actually lost 2 yards on the reception as he came backwards, and it negated the forward progress.
So the Blue Racers have it. Wide receivers on both sides. One stationary, man in motion is Tatum again, far hand side. This time it's a handoff to hefty number 50 and JT Haynes, and Haynes loses his helmet, dropped down right around the 20-yard line. He'll pick up 2. It's 2nd down and 8, Marion. Just about a minute gone from our second quarter.
The important thing is he got the 2 yards.
Number 50, JT Haynes, on our roster here. Doesn't say his height or weight, but he is a hefty offensive lineman. He's got good size on him.
Go with about 5'10", about 320.
So the Blue Racers have the ball again. Wide receivers on both sides. Man in motion. Tatum again, far hand side. Pump
Beautiful.
fake towards the right, and a pass to Lawrence, near hand side, right around the Sharks' 11-yard line. And that will be another first down for Marion. And the Blue Racers have it in Sharks territory, deep in Sharks territory, looking for some more points.
Last time these two teams played down at Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Marion, Lawrence had 2 touchdowns rushing. He's already got 2, and he's got both the Marion scores, 1 through the air and 1 on the ground here thus far.
We'll have wide receiver Gerald Boyd on the far-hand side. Mike Tatum sets up stationary far-hand side. Man in motion is Lawrence on the near-hand side. Handoff, and here comes Lawrence. He's got his 2nd rushing touchdown, his 3rd score tonight, and the Blue Racers lead the Sharks 20-0 with 12:42 and rolling left to go in our first half. Lawrence with his 2nd rush on the game, his 3rd score. This time it's about a 12-yard strike, and the Blue Racers lead by 20.
Yeah, he just got through the hole on that misdirection and just took off. Extra points have been pretty good for Marion thus far.
Berkshire 2 for 2 tonight. He's got 2 points as Bird sets up the spot, and it's low and wide left. Berkshire misses his first. He's now 2 for 3.
The best part about that is between he and Gerald Bird, he looked down and just sort of told him, hey, you pulled that a little bit when you said it, and that's why I almost kicked it into the left corner.
That being said, Blue Racers lead 20-0 with 12:05 left to go in our first half. The Blue Racers have scored all 3 of their offensive possessions. For the Sharks, they have had 3 offensive possessions, a grand total of 0 yards gained.
Lawrence continues to be a beast. Had 11 touchdowns on the year. He's got 3 here already as we see a clock stoppage with 12:05. But big night for the Dayton area, especially in teams who play in this venue.
Dayton Demons playing their first game, best of 5 in the FHL Commissioner's Cup, looking for the championship, the first hockey championship for a professional team since 1975-1976. And also in baseball, the Dayton Dragons host the West Michigan Whitecaps. Dragons lost on opening day. They won by 3 last night.
It's a heck of a way to rebound. We like the Reds. Every game they've played, it's a 1-run game this year.
Berkshire kicks it down low, bounces right around the Dayton 18, and picked up by number 4, the Sharks, and Joshua Copeland. Copeland dragged right around the Sharks' 20-yard line, and he'll be stopped by Gerald Bird and another Blue Racer, number 27, who is also not on our roster. But nevertheless, it is the Sharks' 1st and 10, right on their 20-yard line.
I like the battle going on between Corian Wade actually it's the other way around, Bryson Lawrence. Their players are getting into it. They talked about the Battle of Ohio. It's pretty much the battle within the Battle of Ohio right now on these two teams.
1st and 10, Dayton on their own 20-yard line. The chain gang being summoned over on the near hand side as Evan Sawyer back, and the Blue Racers will summon very, very quickly, but that will be a timeout taken by the Blue Racers. Both teams have used one in this first half. That stops the clock at 11:20 left to go in our second quarter. Marion 20, Dayton 0. Tommy Jones no longer the quarterback of the Dayton Sharks. It is now in the hands of Evan Sawyer. Still has the same wide receiving crew with Eugene Cooper, and Derek Shearer as your two big receiving threats. Also, you have Viterio Jones. And you also have Demetrius McCray at your disposal. Right now, Sawyer having trouble connecting with his wide receivers. Marcus Fales, he's picked up a couple of yards tonight. As Evan Sawyer talks towards his team with Coach Glover standing by. The ball spotted at the 20-yard line, a blue and white ball. Dayton has it 1st and 10 with 11:20 left to go in the second period. Demons lead 1-0 in the first period, by the way. High snap, Sawyer fake snap and kicks it back for McCray. McCray spins past midfield, dropped by Montgomery right in Marion territory on their 24-yard line. That's a pickup of 6. 2nd down and 4 for Dayton with 11:07 and rolling left to go in the second quarter.
And that's the best play that they've run the entire game because it caught Marion over pursuing the opposite way. The two big boys they've got there. You see Mike Cross. That 99 is usually the biggest jersey. I think they need 105 for him, but they caught him over pursuing to the left, went back the other way. Took a page out of Marion's book.
So Sawyer will send 3 wide receivers all on the near-hand side. Sawyer's will watch as Shearer's in the middle. He'll send Eugene Cooper in motion behind. Handoff for McCray. McCray sprints past the 20, past the 15, dropped right around the 14-yard line of the Blue Racers. Stopped by number 4 in E.J. Underwood.
That's the first down of the game for the Sharks, too.
Fresh downs for the Dayton Sharks as they're back in Blue Racer territory. In this offensive possession, it's been 2 running possessions for McCray. Let's see what he does here. He's to the left of Evan Sawyer. 3 wide receivers all on the near-hand side. In motion will be number 19, Craig Wallace Jr. Hand off to McCray. A toss towards his left. He can't see anything there. Past the 10, past the 5. Knocked down at the Marion 4. He's in the red zone. Stopped by the Blue Racers' Chad Woodfork. And Dayton is very close to pay dirt. They've got about 2 yards to pick up. 2nd down and 2. They need to get past the 3 for a fresh set of downs. And we have a flag.
Delay a game on the defense. That's an interesting call.
And that will push the ball for fresh set of downs for Dayton. 9:33 stopped on the clock left in our first half, and Marion leads 20-0. But Dayton is knocking on the door for some points.
It's a big possession here, too, because if you cut it to 2 and you're able to play a good defensive possession, remember Marion will get the ball to start the second half. But I'm interested to see how many times that in the more open field that the Blue Racers defense will recognize that trip set equals a run.
2 wide receivers, near hand side handout to
Not
McCray.
this time.
McCray slants over towards his right. He's bumped off the back of a Shark. He stays parallel, dragged right around the 3 by the Blue Racers defense. He can't get forward enough for extra points. It's 2nd down and goal now for Dayton, right around the 2. 9:05, and the clock continues to tick here in our first half, with Marion leading Dayton 20-0. Evan Sawyer, he's back in the huddle with Shearer towards immediate right. It'll be Sawyer bouncing over. He'll send a wide receiver, Eugene Cooper, to the far-hand side. That would be Sawyer's left. McCray is behind the back of Fales. Loose ball, fumbled. And did Marion pick up a fumble? Yes, they did. Costly turnover for the Sharks, and the Blue Racers have it on their own 3. And what a nice takeaway by the Blue Racers defense.
statistically, that is where Dayton struggles the most, is in the red zone. Remember, 1 of 5 in the last game against Chicago, but for the season, they're only around 20%. So I think it's one of those things where the way that their playbook is set up, it gets harder to choose from that when you get within a couple of yards.
1st and 10, Marion on their own 3. Dayton really, really close to the first points of the game, and it's a turnover on the snap to Evan Sawyer. Down low, and Marion picks it away. The Blue Racers offense back on the field. 2 wide receivers set up on the right-hand side, and the man in motion will be Lawrence, near-hand side. Lawrence will take the slant out of the end zone. Throw, it's a fake, and Tatum all alone takes it. Touchdown, Marion! He beats his defender. That is Chris Respris. He couldn't get in there in time, and Tatum, he strikes for his first score of the game. It's now 26-0 Marion, 7:22 and rolling left in the first half.
Just an absolutely perfect throw by Wallace, but set up by the play action. It froze all the defenders for Dayton for a split second, but I can't even say anything about Respis because he played that perfectly. It's just that Tatum really is that fast. He just blew by him like he was standing still.
So extra point attempt. Berkshire's 2 for 3 tonight. He missed wide left on his last attempt. Berkshire waits as Bird snaps, kicks, place, hop, and off the pole to the right, no good. Berkshire falls to 2 for 4 on extra points, but Marion leads 26-0. That's 6 points off that Dayton turnover, and the Blue Racers have a comfortable lead here in the second quarter.
Already the 4th time this year now that Marion has gone over the 26-point plateau, but in a lot of those games, they didn't do it until later in the game. So it's one of those things where, and you saw again to keep going back to this, the last time out against Chicago, Dayton found themselves in a similar position in which they could not stop Juice Williams. Right now, well, you pick a player, they're not able to keep him from getting into the end zone.
Lawrence has 3 scores for the Blue Racers, 2 on the turf, 1 through the air, and Tatum picked off an absolute bomb through the air, and he crossed the end zone with ease. 26-0 Blue Racers, 6:45 left to go in the second. It's a media timeout.
Here's another question for you quickly, too. How many people had UConn up 7 on Florida with 7 minutes to play in the Final Four? Not very many.
I don't think very many at all, but UConn playing a good game, it seems like.
Yeah.
As we take this timeout, we'd like to let you know about Miami University Middletown, the first regional branch campus in Ohio. They offer associate and bachelor's degrees and beginning courses for most 4-year degrees and some of the lowest tuition rates of regional branch campuses in the state. Miami Middletown maintains an open admission policy with first-year college students at any age automatically accepted with a high school diploma or a GED. An average class size of 19, Miami Middletown can help you to your dreams. For more information, call area code 513-727-3200 or visit regionals.miamioh.edu to find out more. Berkshire kicks it off far-hand side, boots it towards the Dayton 20 on the near-hand side. Picked back up by the Sharks, and taking it will be
nice
number
move
3.
By Cravens.
And that is going to be James Craven, rolling past midfield, dropped right around the Blue Racers 24-yard line. It is 1st and 10 for Dayton with 6:30 now left in our first half. It is James Cravens, I'm sorry. As Dayton starts in Marion territory. The last time they got to the 2-yard line, but they fumbled the ball. And Marion, on their first play after that takeaway, put up 6 more points. Sawyer gets the word from his offensive coordinator, James Scott. If you remember when Tommy Jones was here, he doubled as the quarterback and the offensive coordinator. But it's James Scott taking the reins. Your head coach is LeVar Glover. Sawyer will send a man in motion on the far-hand side. He gets the ball, and he looks forward. He sprints past the 25-20. Now on the 10, far-hand side, and he rushes in for the score.
I think he stepped out of bounds at about the 4.
Right
now,
they
gave him the touchdown.
Touchdown, Dayton. Chad Woodfork points over towards the Cintas banner. He says that the left hip of Evan Sawyer hit the boards, but Evan Sawyer runs it home 24 yards. That's Dayton's first score of the game. Marion leads by 20, 26-6. And Van Zant will get his first crack at an extra point. He's 0 for 2 on field goals tonight. Sawyer with the quarterback keep. Rushes it for 24 yards for the first Dayton score. Van Zant lines up. His holder is the quarterback Sawyer. Waiting for the snap. Here's the snap, the place, the kick. It's up through the air, right through the uprights, and a point for Van Zant. And Dayton now trails Marion 26-7 with 4:57 left to go in our second quarter. That was a big score for the Sharks, as Marion had 26 unanswered points against the Sharks. And Evan Sawyer runs it in himself for the score.
And I was going to say, too, before that possession, it's a dangerous possession for Dayton because, really, if you don't score the way that Marion has gone, they score generally the last couple of games on 3 of their first 5 possessions. They scored on 4 of 4 here. If you get nothing and give up another score, it's going to be a long second half.
And don't forget, like Mike pointed out earlier, the Blue Racers get the ball start our second half here at Hare Arena. With 4:57 left to go in our first half, it is Marion 26, Dayton 7. And speaking of Marion, they brought a nice hearty selection of fans sitting in Section 21 across from us here at Hare Arena. They're loud and they're proud of their team right now. As Van Zant will place the ball down on the tee, closer to the center of the end zone. As he backs up. And wait a minute, the referee far hand side blows his whistle saying the ball fell off the tee. So Van Zant comes off. He squeegees it in. The linesman on the far hand side says, is it good? And Van Zant says, yep. So he continues to tweak the ball. You can't blame it on the wind in here. Or
you know how kickers are.
Yes. Van Zant will boogie towards his left. He looks around. His special teams mates behind him as he boots it, and this is heading towards the Dayton bench. Bounces into the Dayton bench from the Marion 8-yard line. It's out of bounds. The Blue Racers can't return it. It'll be 1st and 10 for Marion with 4:57 left to go in our first half. And a young fan has himself a CIFL football, and he throws it back. You keep those if they come towards you, but I think he's thinking of the old baseball tradition where if
that's you get thrown out if you do that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I caught a home run ball in Cleveland a couple years ago against the Braves, and I kept it. And the usher comes up behind me because I had a Braves hat on. Everybody was chanting, "Throw it back." And the usher comes up behind me and he says, "It's a good thing you didn't throw that back." I said, "Why, sir?" He said, "We would have had to escort you out."
Ball placed at the Marion 8-yard line. It is 1st and 10 Blue Racers. 2 wide receivers towards the quarterback's left. That is Wallace, and a wide receiver towards the right. He keeps it past the 10, lowers his head down. He gets hit by a pack of Sharks, and he's dropped right around the Marion 15-yard line. He's a couple yards shy of the first down, namely 3. It's 2nd down and 3 for the Blue Racers with 4:40 and rolling left to go in our first half.
And that's the thing I've noticed from Wallace the last couple of years is he's a smart enough quarterback that when things break down, he realizes there's nobody there. He'll just take off. He's run for a handful of touchdowns the last couple of years in both arena and in semi-pro.
Kevin Moore of that first hit to slow the tall quarterback down as Wallace will tiptoe his way behind the offensive line, sends a wide receiver stationary on both sides, and the man in motion is going to be Tatum on the far-hand side. We have a whistle, and a flag will fly at the Marion 16-yard line. Looks like it's a false start from the Stripes. And yes, it is false start upon the Blue Racers, pushing them back 5. It'll be 2nd down and 8 from the Marion 10.
It was on Tatum because if you notice, as he crossed the 10-yard line, he kind of hiccuped. He stopped and tried to restart, and they caught him for it, and he knew. Immediately as he crossed the line, he knew it was going to be on him.
Now under 4 to play in our first half. It is Dayton trailing Marion 26-7. The Blue Racers lead. Blue Racers have the ball. Wallace looks around towards his left, towards his right. Tatum in motion again, and we have 2 defenders bouncing up. Another flag flies right around the Blue Racers 8. And this time the linesman on the near hand side points towards Dayton's defense. And that will be a penalty on the Sharks And the ball is spotted back at the 15-yard line.
Only 4 penalties in the game, 2 against each. So, again, one of the keys we talked about before for Marion was you have to cut down on the penalties. 80 yards the last time these two teams met.
So a 5 for a 5er. The ball back at the Marion 15-yard line. They need to cross the 18 for a fresh set of downs. It is 2nd down and 3. Wallace sets up. He's got a man in motion, Tatum, far hand side, stationary wide receivers on both sides. Wallace looks towards his left, bounces, throws towards his right, and out of the reach of Lawrence. He can't get the handle in, and it bounces into the Marion bench. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 3 for Marion from their 15. 26-7 Marion with 3:05 and rolling left to go in our second quarter. Marion with 26 unanswered points. We have Wallace in the huddle, looks over, gets the wording from his coach. The head coach of the Blue Racers is Lamar Coleman. They'll make it Lamonte Coleman. My apologies.
A very heated discussion going on between Mike Davis and the Sharks coaching staff about where he lost the ball in the lights out on the last possession.
Lawrence, the man in motion, reverses towards the far-hand side. 2 wide receivers set on the right-hand side. As Wallace looks around towards his left, bounces out of the 5, throws it down the middle, and Bird had it, and he is licked by a Shark. Respris comes in, incomplete. 4th down and 3 for the Blue Racers from their 15. Respris with a mighty hit on Bird, stripping the ball away from him.
Yeah, he earned that one. That ball came over the middle. It was actually a perfect throw by Wallace because it was right in the middle of where 3 defenders were camping out. They were all 5 yards away, but by the time that ball came down, he pretty much left Gerald Bird out to dry because Respis was right there with him.
1:50 left to go in our second quarter. The offense back on the field. Lawrence is the man in motion. He'll do another reverse to the far-hand side. 2 wide receivers stationary towards Wallace's right. Wallace tucks in, bounces around. He gets rid of the ball, bounces into section 23 of Hare Arena. He throws it away, incomplete, and Dayton will have it from the Marion 15-yard line. 1st and 10 Sharks.
They better hurry, too, because there's only 1:24, and they need to get a score here. It's interesting to see they used one of their timeouts, so they'll have to go pretty quick. It's also where they're at the 15. They can go back to that trip set that they run the misdirection out of.
They have 10 seconds before we hit the 1-minute warning here. CIFL, that's when the clock stops in the 2nd and 4th quarter. And it looks like the Sharks are going to let it roll to the 1-minute warning. That's what we've reached. 1-minute warning in effect here as the Sharks head towards the ball. 1st and 10 from the Marion 15 for the Dayton Sharks. Evan Sawyer ran in a score from about 24 yards away the last time Dayton had the ball.
For me, it seems like a position where you would watch out defensively for Jason Smith. 6'2", 185. I don't know that at some point you don't just try and maybe lob one to the end zone and take your chances because he's taller than what Barnes is on that side, and also Woodfork on the other side.
Dayton will have it from the Marion 15-yard line. Right now, Sawyer having a word with Coach Glover and one referee towards his right shoulder. He's also having a word with Coach Shepard, probably one of the funniest people in the coaching staff of Dayton. Always a joy to be around, always a smile on his face, too. The ball placed right around the 15-yard line as Marion's defense takes the stage. Evan Sawyer huddles around his Sharks offensive crew. Sawyer looks in. He's got Shearer on the turf along with Eugene Cooper. Cooper will be the man in motion. And he'll also have Jason Smith far hand side. The running back towards Sawyer's right will be Marcus Fales as Sawyer sends Cooper in motion, but we have a flag flying behind the back of Marcus Fales. False start on the Sharks offense. That pushes them back 5 to the Marion 20 now. 1st and 15, Dayton. 1 minute left in our first half. 26-7 Marion is our score here from Hare Arena.
I think he got one of the offensive linemen for it that time because it wasn't the receivers. I was actually watching them on the opposite side.
Shearer's on the near hand side. Cooper's in motion far hand side along with Smith. Bouncing around with Sawyer right at midfield. Throws it over the head of Jason Smith as he's rammed into the Dayton bench. Incomplete. Second down and 15 for Dayton on the 20-yard line. And the clock did not move a second. We still have a minute left in our.
There it is.
And now they'll tick it down a bit. So the referee comes in, yells into the speaker hole. For hockey, it's what the referee and the linesman have to do.
Speaking of hockey, how about the Demons up 1-0 after the first period?
Very, very good start for Dayton thus far.
The Sharks are taking a lot of time here. They wasted about 21 seconds before the clock stopped.
Now two Stripes approach the
I
box.
think they might put some time back on. Because if they were just trying to run off what that time should have been, they are.
And
it would have been a maybe 5 seconds, usually 5 to 7 seconds for that play, depending on where you started it at.
And right now they put 15 minutes back on the clock. I don't think that's going to be held up, Mike, but the clock
I'd guess
operator,
I'd say about 56 seconds is where they should be.
they might try to put it back around the 5-second mark, like you said. You get the ball, waste a couple seconds, and look towards your left, sling it, and about 5 to 7 seconds. Right now, the referee wears number 32 on the back. I believe that's a new feature for the CIFL referees. They have the number screen printed on the back and a white patch. Still trying to work the clock here as Dayton has it second down and 15 from the Marion 20.
I think you're going to see Dayton take a timeout here in a second, too.
And now the clock has been placed at 55.5 seconds left to go in our second quarter here. So about 4.5 seconds ticked off on that incomplete pass.
And they did, and they went to Smith on that crossing route behind. Not where I thought they were going to go, because right at the 20, he's going to be jammed off the line.
Sawyer sends Cooper in motion far
There he is,
inside.
right down the
And
middle. They
Sawyer
missed him.
flings it over towards the far corner, incomplete, but there is a flag. Make it 2 flags on the Marion 5 and in the end zone. That pass intended for Cooper as the clock continues to roll. The referee says stop it. And one of them will attend to the clock, but right now two Stripes talk it over, 32 and 75.
I think Sawyer's going to be upset when they watch this game film, because he had Smith standing at about the 5 doing jumping jacks, quite literally, with his 6'2" frame and his hand in the air, because they went on the double team off the jam on the backside. Woodfork and one of the other defenders, it was Richardson, both went over there because they knew they were going to go to the corner.
Penalty is on the Marion Blue Racers. They push in the back as the clock now reads 4.8 seconds. I believe it's supposed to read 48 seconds left to go in our second quarter. As Sawyer will set up a stationary wide receiver.
I'm not a math major, but I don't think 50 seconds came off the clock.
Marion with the penalty, and the ball is spotted at the 1-yard line. 48 seconds remain in our first half. I'm mixing up my hockey and football terms, I'm sorry. As Sawyer will have Fails, the running back, towards his right. A stationary wide receiver on both sides. That is Shearer and Cooper, left, right.
Sawyer might just keep it.
Sawyer has the ball, hands it off, and Fails will try to pound it in. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Dayton! Marcus Fails pounds home a 6-pointer for his 3rd rushing touchdown on the season. 26-13, Marion with 33.9 seconds now left on the clock, and the referee's heading back towards the clock operator. We'll see some time put back up on the clock.
Yeah, I don't think that play took 12 seconds.
Marcus,
a 2-yard run.
Marcus Fails with a 2-yard 6-pointer, and Dayton now trails Marion 26-13. 32 seconds will be put on the clock. So referee from the far hand side puts a 3 and a 2, and they put 4.2 seconds.
They're going to take 6 seconds off of it. It should be down to 42 seconds. That I'll believe, from 48 to 42.
It is tough to operate the clock.
And now we
Now
got
they
4.5 minutes.
As Van Zant, I was about to say it is tough. I've done scoreboard operation before for football. It is a little tough to do, but someone's got to do it, you know?
It's a huge extra point.
Van Zant lines up. Tonight he's 1 for 1. He looks to put Dayton down by 12 if he connects. Here's the snap, the place to kick, and Van Zant connects high over the goalpost. That's an extra point.
He got it.
And for Marion, that was Dante Barnes saying no, he didn't connect. As an extra point, and Marion now leads Dayton 26-14. That is 14 unanswered by the Shark Pack.
To be fair, I know Dante Barnes, and he's always going to say it was no good, but that time from at least my angle, where it's the upper part of the uprights are blocked by these the video signs, but I don't know that he doesn't have a legit gripe, because I didn't think he made it, to be honest with you.
I thought it bounced high over the goalpost on the right-hand side, but like you mentioned, the old hockey video boards, actually the LED boards, they don't do
Hey, all that matters is the official said it went in.
Exactly. So
I don't think any players have ever bought a call.
42.2 seconds left to go in the first half, and Dayton now trails Marion 26-14. Marion will get the ball back after this kick. It is Van Zant, the 5'8", 185 kicker, very well known in the Dayton indoor football scene. Part of the last season of the Dayton Silverbacks and part of last year's Dayton Sharks team that lost in the playoffs to Saginaw by 1 point up in Michigan.
So with 42 seconds to go, Tatum's back there. He's already taken one to the house this year. I've seen him do it a handful of times. It would be very...
Van Zant kicks it low.
Say, very
in front of the Dayton bench, picked up by Lawrence. He sideswipes away from a Shark, and he's got open house to play with.
Ooh.
And he's smacked in the face right around the Dayton 20, brought down right around the 15-yard line of the Sharks. 1st and 10 coming up for Marion. Bryson Lawrence with that return. Looked like it was a helmet-to-helmet on that return on the far-hand side. But Lawrence with a nice return there. And the Sharks back on defense. Marion's got it 15 yards away for some more pay dirt.
And I don't know, he got hit by about 4 guys. I don't know which one actually lays the boom, but, you get hit 4 guys on 3 different sides simultaneously. It's all going to hurt.
1st and 10, Marion in Dayton territory at the 15. Wallace leans in. He'll send Tatum in motion from the far side to the near hand side. Handoff to Tatum, and he'll bounce his way past the 10. Flag flies at the back of number 50. And as Haynes, we have a penalty coming up.
He ducked his way to the 9-yard line because he saw all those big bodies just went under it. I'm a big fan of Mike Tatum. He's a big, as they're going to get a holding penalty there on the Blue Racers, but very smart football player, sees holes really well. Also, that kind of speed, you just can't teach it.
Offensive holding goes against the Blue Racers. Ball spotted at the 15-yard line. And they'll spot the ball behind the Sharks' 15-yard line. The clock rolls now with 22 seconds left to go in our first half.
They were at the 15 when they committed the penalty.
Remember, Marion gets the ball to start our second half here as we have a banner down on the field. It's away from play, so a play will go on. Tatum, motion, far hand side. Throw right at the hands of number 5, Steph Stevens. A nice catch, and he's dragged down right around the Sharks' 8-yard line.
It'll be interesting to see if they give Marion the timeout. The coaches were over signaling it when Stevens was in the grass, but the problem is Seth Stevens, two touchdowns in his last game, was still trying to go forward as they're trying to call the timeout.
So Steph Stevens makes the reception, drop down at the Sharks' 8, and Marion does indeed get their timeout with 0.2 seconds left to go in our first half.
Be interested to see where Dayton plays this one defensively. As you can see them all in a huddle right near the goal line. Only 0.2 seconds. You know Marion's going to get the ball to start the second half. You've worked it within 2 scores, but you've definitely got to keep everything in front of you, especially... This is where we just saw a couple of plays ago where Marion ran that essentially a toss sweep to Tatum on the left side. I'm going to bet they're either going to try something like that or they're going to try and space everything out and just let Wallace go straight through the middle.
Right now he's pointing towards the end zone. Wallace, the quarterback, as he leans in. Coach Coleman is on his left-hand side in the huddle. .2 seconds remain in our first half. It is Marion 26, Dayton 14. Sharks trail by 12 as some of the Sharks fans pump up the crowd. And here go the Dayton faithful. They're clapping their hands, making some noise. And the Blue Racer fans start to make a bit of noise themselves as Wallace sets up 3 wide receivers on his right-hand side. That's the far-hand side. And Lawrence will be your man in motion. Pick back up. Buzzer goes off. Lawrence, he spins around. They'll make that. Wallace, he's singled out. Dropped.
It wasn't the play they drew up.
Dropped at the Dayton 20. That is a sack of 12 yards on the quarterback. And the Sharks end the first half on a sack. Halftime score, Marion Blue Racers 26, Dayton Sharks 14. 14 unanswered points by the Sharks, but remember the Blue Racers do get the ball back to start our third quarter.
I guarantee that wasn't the play that the Blue Racers drew up. They had a screen set on the right side a little further down, but to do so, you've kind of got to play a little bit of a delay as I see a couple of the linemen, and Chris Stafford and Robert Price having a conversation about which way they were going to go, but still leading 26-14 at the half. And how about this? If you put your money on Vegas at the beginning of the season, how many people would say that the UConn Huskies would be in the NCAA Finals 63-53 over the University of Florida?
I don't know if I could say that.
The last team to beat Florida this year, UConn, both times in the regular season before the 30 straight wins, and now to end their season. How about that?
Beautiful, beautiful. That being said, our halftime score is 26-14 Marion. Doug Brown has another interview with you with owner Corwin Thomas of the Dayton Sharks. We hope you enjoy it. We'll be back with halftime stats, and we'll recap that first half for you here. Mike Hearn joining me tonight. My name's Lee W. Mowen. You are listening to the Gem City Sports Network and the simulcast on the Michigan Regional Sports Network, Channel 7. Stay with us, folks. Enjoy the interview, and we'll be back after this.
Joining us now is Corwin Thomas, the owner of the Dayton Sharks. And Corwin, how did you get involved with this indoor football?
Well, football has always been a staple center for the city of Dayton. I mean, lots of great athletes. I mean, not just football, but lots of great athletes come out of the city of Dayton. I live in Cincinnati, and I wanted to make sure that football stayed in Dayton, so we started the Dayton Sharks.
You got it when they were called the Silverbacks. You took over, and it's been a good ride since then. And how do you get these guys to come in here and play?
Well, I really leave that up to our general manager, LeVar Glover, who's a local local Daytonian. LeVar Glover went to Jefferson High School, and our quarterback, Evan Sawyer, also is a graduate from Jefferson High School. So LeVar comes from a long, good pedigree of football athletes and folks that he's kind of touched his lives, like Mike Tomlin coached him when he was at UC. He was also coached by Rex Ryan. So I leave all the X's and O's to LeVar. I mean, he does a great job. He was drafted by the Steelers. I mean, what else can I say? LeVar Glover's he's a star.
Yeah, you also play with the Bengals, and you also have Derek Shepard that played with the Dolphins and the Patriots. So you got some good coaches out there.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't ask for a better general manager in LeVar Glover, and I can't ask for a better coaching staff. Also, James Scott, who's our offensive coordinator, who's also a former Bearcat. So we're very pleased.
Now, where do you get the guy? How do you go out and find the guys to play?
Well, it's kind of simple. What we do is we put out what the modeling industry calls a casting call, but we're looking for athletes, and so when this season is over, we'll be doing the same thing. We'll put out things on social media, Facebook, and say, hey, your Dayton Sharks are looking for high character guys that have great talent and a love for their community. And so we basically want to really get guys from the community of Dayton because it's called the Dayton Sharks. And so we're just really happy about the guys that we got this year because, again, we start with character first, and then we look for talent, and then we look for their heart in terms of what they want to do for the community of Dayton because that's very important to us.
You got a lot of guys from the Dayton area on this team, and we as an organization with the Gem City Sports Network, we go out and we look around to see what games are going to be available, and we don't go to the University of Dayton or Wright State. We go to like St. Clair and stuff. And Dayton, the Sharks, the Demons, they don't get a lot of coverage from the media, and we're trying to change that. So what can you tell the fans about indoor football coming out here to Harrah?
Well, You ended with Hera, and I'll start with Hera. The legendary Hera Arena is, like we affectionately like to say, everyone's been here from George Bush to Kiss to ACDC. I mean, you name it. And so Hera is a fantastic place to play. It's full of rich history, Dayton history, and so. When fans come out here, they'll see a fantastic product on the field. I mean, these guys work really, really hard. A couple practices a week, easy, sometimes 3 practices a week. But not just on the field, but they study in the classroom. I mean, when you partner up with as an offensive coordinator like James Scott, he's going to make sure that you're a student of the game as he is. So. What we want fans to do when they come out to Hera Arena, a lot of folks are unfamiliar with indoor football, so it's 8-on-8. So we want our 9th man here. We want the 9th man to come out here to Dayton and support your team because Dayton, they belong to you.
No, I mean, I know the place. Somebody know what this is.
Thank you.